These are monsters. These aren't family. Assalamu alaikum. Another episode of Asksq. You ask, I respond. That's how this thing goes. And if you are new to this channel, of course, consider subscribing. Matter of fact, subscribe right now. We're always speaking about topics that are very controversial, but they always serve as an iman booster. So let's get into this question. So I'm a Pakistani female. I am 19 years old and I live in the UK with my parents, my brother. Okay, too much detail. About 2 years ago, I met this guy who is a Jamaican Muslim. Wagwan mate. He lives on the same road as me and my nan. I spent a lot of time. Okay, too much detail. We gotta cut that out. I used to see him often, but one day he came up to me and started a conversation. We didn't speak about anything particular. It was very a general conversation. Now, just one thing really quick right here. There's no such thing called a general conversation. We know that as far as free mixing is concerned between males and females, it is recommended that we don't free mix at all. In fact, we should do our best to avoid them. I understand there's certain situations with university and work where you have to interact with the opposite gender, but you should keep your interactions to a minimum. So if you're having a conversation in a polite manner, it is totally fine to be polite about what you're conversing about, but also be indifferent about it at the same time where you're ready to leave the conversation. Oftentimes, we actually like to drag the conversation and speak as much as we can and as long as we can, just so we could keep talking to them. After a while, he ended up asking for my number, and I gave it. So that's the first mistake over here. You see, we think that conversations are innocent, but conversations are never innocent. You just never know the underlying intention of the other person. Now, it doesn't mean that he's a bad person. It just means that sometimes, even if your intention is good, the shaitan comes and does his waswasa, his evil little whispers, and he changes a positive, good intention, a good deed into something evil and corrupt. I know people are sincere. I know that they mean no harm, but the shaitan is our open enemy, and we should consider him and take him as an open enemy as well. We started talking to one another and started to get to know each other. After some time, I really began to like him. Obviously, right? You're in a very restrictive environment where you're not allowed any conversation with anyone whatsoever. And now this guy who is showing you some importance, showing you some interest, you feel fantastic about yourself. And that's totally normal. It's normal for you to want importance. And in fact, those who are predators actually do that. Those players out there, they actually focus on giving people importance. When they give people importance, they know the magic formula and trick to getting someone and playing those games is all about importance. You weren't getting importance, now you're getting importance. Hence you like him. I'm not saying your feelings aren't real, nor am I saying that you shouldn't acknowledge those feelings. What I'm trying to say to you is that the reason you feel this way initially is because someone gave you importance. And that's something that we gotta understand. However, I always held on tight to my beliefs and values, and I didn't pursue a relationship with him as I knew it would be haram. I explained to him that as a Muslim, I want to do things the right way. Now, mashallah, I'm proud of you. Look, sometimes we slip in situations that aren't that good for us, and I understand that. But it's important for us to know what our limits are and where we have to draw the line. I mean, for some people, even speaking to him would have been past that line and past the limits. I'm sure it was yours too. But what happens is that you lower your standards just a little, and that's a shaitan's trick. You would never have thought when you first met him that you'd give him your number. In fact, you felt even awkward maybe even speaking to him. You would never have thought that when you first saw him that you were going to end up liking him. The thing is that with time, we end up lowering our standards and our beliefs. When our values and our beliefs conflict with each other, that's what leads to spiritual issues as well. So if you're feeling bad about something right now, which makes sense that you are feeling bad right now, just know it's because your beliefs and your values are contradicting themselves. Your beliefs in Islam teach you that, a male and a female should not really be together. They should be conversing. They shouldn't be having these private conversations. But your values on the other side is just like, I know I shouldn't be giving him a number, but I gave him the number, and you're having a conflict internally. You got to be careful about this. That's why you feel this way. However, the issue we both face is my family. I have never brought it up with my parents that I want to marry him. They know nothing about him. This is the ultimate trap of the shaitan, okay? You have to remember something. If you already know, and I know where this is going, if you know that your parents won't accept him, why are you doing what you're doing right now? Either do whatever you want to do. As long as it pleases Allah, do what you got to do. But if you're putting your family, right, you're more concerned about what your family are going to think about you rather than what was Allah thinking about you when you were doing all those acts. And I'm not saying you're doing something physically with him. I'm talking about that conversation. I'm talking about that number exchange. I'm talking about liking him. I'm talking about that level. If you were this deeply concerned about how Allah thought about you, you need to recheck your priorities. Are you more afraid of how your parents are going to respond and react? Or were you more afraid of how Allah would respond and react when he saw that I was disobeying him? That's a question of priority you got to ask yourself. My family are very traditional and want me to marry someone from the same culture and caste, and I get it, like this is what it is. But if you're taking risks, take the risk, do what you gotta do, or submit to your parents. It's a simple choice, right? I hope you understand what I'm saying. You either do whatever you want to do and you live with those consequences, or you do whatever your parents want you to do and you live with those consequences. Either way, someone's going to have to make a choice. It's not that you always are going to get your way. People are not always going to be happy with you. But you have to remember something, that you're not going to be able to please everyone. Everyone's not going to be happy with you, and that's something you have to be understanding of and comfortable with, okay? Either you're going to make a choice and your parents are going to be upset. Either you're going to make a choice and the guy's going to be upset, or you're going to make a choice and you're upset. Okay, so if you made a choice for your parents, the guy's going to be upset and you're going to be upset. But if you made a choice for the boy, your parents are going to be upset, and because of that, you're going to be upset. The number one person that should never be upset is you. Remember, you got to put yourself first. Obviously, you have to put Allah first. Obviously, you have to make sure you're doing right by Allah, but you got to look for your own happiness first. Own happiness. And if that happiness is in pleasing Allah and making sure you're doing right by your parents, rock on. But what your parents are doing aren't fair as well. It's not like, oh, I need to respect my parents and their wishes. Not necessarily, because what they're asking you to do, which stays in your culture, and do not disrespect us and don't go against this caste system that doesn't even exist in Islam, by you doing this, that's actually obeying parents who are calling you away from Allah in a way. And you got to be mindful of that. You're not required to obey that sort of law, because they're asking you to disobey Allah, because that's not a part of Islam. And that goes against your own values too. So you got to be mindful of this, that at the end of the day, the one who's supposed to come up on top is yourself. Keep your feelings and your happiness first above the creation of people. Keep the creator in priority first, and then your priority is next to love yourself. The creation can follow up later. I know even marrying someone outside of my caste caused my family to disown me, or could potentially be the death of me. I do know of a case where there was a Pakistani girl, and she did marry someone from Zimbabwe who was black, and he was also a Revert brother. And guess what happened? Her family did exactly what yours were doing. They were not talking to her. They said no. But she kept fighting for it, kept fighting for it, kept fighting for it. So the question you need to ask yourself is he worth it? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Is this person worth it? Is this person worth getting disowned? And if you feel that strongly about it, and you've performed istikhara, and you know that this is the person you want to spend your rest of your life with, then you got to live with those consequences. But you got to ask yourself, is this person worth it? And if you can't answer that question right now, then they're probably not worth it. If you can't be willing to sacrifice everything for this person, they're probably not worth it. If you really, really want to be with this person, and this has not caused you to stay up late at night in tahajjud, crying to Allah, asking Allah, begging to Allah, and if one roadblock comes and you're willing to ditch him and abandon him, then you don't want him as bad as you think you do. I love my family, and I would never want to be the reason they are in pain or any type of discomfort. Listen to me. If you were not even to throw the garbage out one day, and you were going to cause them discomfort, like they're going to be discomforted regardless of what you do or not. You can't be focused on pleasing the creation. You're just never going to win. You have to focus on pleasing Allah. Are you doing anything wrong by marrying a revert? The answer is no. It's simple as that. Are your parents going to be happy? No. But what's more important, your happiness or your parents' happiness? That's a question you got to answer. I can't answer that for you. For some people, their parents' happiness. Rock on, do you. For me, number one, right here, me. I got to look out for myself. It's not in a selfish manner. My parents are going to die one day. That's the reality. I love them. I love them to death. I'll do anything for my mom. But I'm not going to allow a person who I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to be with for the rest of my life, to be dictated and told to me about a person who is not going to be having to deal with them for the rest of their lives, because they're going to leave and they're going to have no attachment to them. I got to live with them. Most of the time, parents pick spouses that they would want for themselves. They're not keeping you in mind. So your parents are going to choose people keeping themselves in mind. Isn't that selfish? You got to be a little selfish too. For you to be selfless, you have to be just a little selfish. Selfish in putting yourself first. Selfish in the terms of being committed to loving yourself. That's the term selfish I'm talking about. How can you be selfless and concerned about other people's happiness when you're miserable yourself? My brother once caught me speaking to the guy and warned me to stop, otherwise the consequences could lead to my death. What? Is your family in the mafia? Like, are you guys mafioso or something? Like, what do you mean, death? What are you guys talking about, death? Like, you're gonna get killed by your family for marrying a Revert? You're gonna get disowned by your family for marrying a Revert? Where are you right now? Like, where is this? You said you're in the UK right now? There's laws, there's rules and regulations. If your parents, like, what kind of situation is this? And by the way, this is a lot of people. This is a lot of people that they'll murder you, they'll kill you, honor killing. What the hell are you talking about? Get some protective custody away from these people. These are monsters. These aren't family. This is monsters. If your family can't accept you and love you for who you are, you gotta do some reconsiderations, friend. You can't just accept that. You can't just be okay with the idea that I gotta walk on eggshells for the rest of my life because my family might just snipe me one day like this was Fortnite. This ain't Fortnite. This ain't a game, boy. This is real life. You can't just go around killing people. That's not how this thing works. You gotta put your happiness above the happiness of other people. It's as simple as that. Make the choice. Make the commitment to be happy. It's a commitment to love yourself. It ain't easy. No one said it was going to be easy. So if you want to marry this person, marry them and live with the consequences of being disowned or maybe being sniped from the next tower or something like that because they might snipe you or something. I don't know. They might kill you. I don't know. I hope not. But you got to live with those consequences. And you got to live with the consequences of listening to your family and marrying Junaid from Pakistan. You know, you're gonna have to listen to that and then you're gonna be unhappy for the rest of your life, or maybe you won't be unhappy, but the point is you gotta do what's best for you. Keep that in mind. Do what's best for you and what pleases Allah and what pleases yourself. They both have to be aligned for you to find true happiness. Well, that was my advice, but I wanna know, what would you advise this person? If you got this DM from this sister, what would you advise them? Drop it in the comments below and make sure it's a supportive comment. Make sure that it's not rude or harsh to them and, you know, judgmental towards them. Make sure that they need your help right now. They're asking for your help. Make a dua for them if you have no advice for them whatsoever. Share a personal story if you feel comfortable enough. But just do not judge them or bash them for this type of question. Make sure that you're subscribed to my social media and to this YouTube channel as well. Make sure that you hit this with a huge thumbs up and make sure that you share this with someone who might get a kick out of watching this video. I appreciate you all and I'm grateful for you guys watching. If you have any questions, please DM me on any of my social media platforms. I love you all for the sake of Allah. I'm out.